Hello everyone, this is the Resit 11 for Global Business Environment and my student ID is 1648090. On this presentation, we are going to analyze how the companies work in order to maximize their profits, exploiting legal tax loopholes, and why these strategies can be seen as unethical and immoral. Globalization, the link between nations in which physical, political, economic, and cultural barriers are reduced or removed, has led to a greater integration of economies. This integration has also intensified among multinational corporations. The commercial and financial relations between branches that companies have in different countries are growing, and the current operating models have changed from local to global and far away from the customers who pay for the products or services. However, there are really big business taxation differences between the countries. On this picture, we can see that the countries have different corporate taxes. For example, Puerto Rico corporate tax is 39%, which is a really high percentage. Then we have countries like Portugal with 21%, which is very close to the European tax corporation average. However, we have countries in which they don't even have to pay any corporation tax, such as Maldives or Bahamas. Tax loopholes are gaps in the tax code that usually cost the government money. Tax loopholes allows companies to take income or assets from situations where they have to pay a normal or a high amount of taxes to another with lower taxes to pay or even no taxes at all. Loopholes are common in big companies that face political and tax issues and legal status. However, they are not available for working people or small business. This process might be legal, unlike tax evasion, which is different. But is it considered ethical? Nowadays, plenty of multinational companies that you might know, such as Apple, Microsoft, IKEA, Google, or Amazon, use legal tax loopholes to avoid the imposition of some financial laws. Multinational corporations pay, on average, 30% less income taxes than the small local business. According to a parliament study, those practices result in a revenue loss of between 50,000 and 70,000 million euros to countries of the European Union every year. This is 5 times the amount of money destined to the refugees crisis in 2015 and 2016. However, in some cases, the European Commission has already taken action. Starbucks and Fiat had to pay back between 20 and 30 million euros respectively in Netherlands and Luxembourg. Now we are going to see some examples of tax loopholes. Ireland is one of the most popular countries in which companies pay a little amount of taxes to the public finance, as we saw before. But some branches in Ireland pay to use the intellectual property rights to another branch of the same multinational company based in Bermuda or other tax havens in the Caribbean, which most of them are British. As corporation tax on those islands is zero, the multinational does not pay any taxes to Ireland or to the tax havens. In other cases, multinational corporations use another more traditional method. Regional or world headquarters based in Ireland invoice the branches in different countries the cost of services provided to them and the intellectual property rights and the benefits with almost no taxes accrue in the Irish branch. To have a global idea, in 2012 the profits of the multinational corporation based in Ireland paid on average a rate of 2.2% from their profits, which is a really low percentage. For example, Google saved $3.7 billion 2 years ago by moving 16 billion euros between Ireland, the Netherlands, and Bermuda, using these legal loopholes that allowed it to avoid high taxes responsibility overseas. The European Union is currently pressuring Irish government to change its entire corporate regime, but the Irish government claimed that keeping low taxes is a strategy to attract foreign companies, and they will keep doing the best for their own interest. Amazon is the biggest online retailer, with the richest person in the world as a founder, John Bezos, and which value is more than $150,000 million. The company used federal, state, and local tax laws to minimize the tax liabilities. Amazon doesn't pay any federal taxes, and the experts estimate that from 2012 to now they pay a rate of 11.4% of $8.3 billion of profits. This is 3 times less than the statutory rate. The small tax bills of companies that have huge revenues and profits are increasing social concerns. Avoiding taxes is considered one of the biggest ethics issues from the English point of view, due to its seen as a social obligation. First of all, exploiting tax loopholes damage the governments, because the companies reduce the revenues for the country and increase the cost of tax administration, because they are complex operations and they need time for the tax inspector authorities. Secondly, it results in a cost to the rest of the taxpayers of the country. Paying taxes provides plenty funds for the public services like education, public security, social services, and most of the multinational corporations are being benefited by those services and they are not paying for them. So the population is the one who has to pay. And then it affects the companies which only work in a local market, because they cannot compete with the multinational that pay less than at the same sector. However, company directors argue that the responsibility is to maximize the profits, and that includes keeping tax costs to a minimum. Also, they say that they contribute to the economy in other ways. In the UK, for example, they pay national insurance contributions and business rates, while in other countries they can contribute through agreements to pay infrastructure costs. Multinational companies do not have to use these techniques at all. They have a choice. They can choose to exploit loopholes in tax law, play countries' tax regimes off against each other, and hide transactions in secrecy jurisdictions, at the same time as hiding the true nature of their behavior in their accounts. Or to be transparent about their operations, make decisions based on factors other than transactions, and contribute a fair amount of tax to each country in which they operate. As a conclusion, both options are perfectly legal, but only one is right. I would encourage companies to start choosing to do the right thing, to increase their transparency and pay their dues, because exploiting loopholes damage the government, because the other population are indirectly paying their taxes and it only benefits to the big and rich business. I think there is a balance to be struck on this issue. We all have to pay our taxes, and it is important that they are applied on a fair basis. And to finish, on this slide there is the list of sources I used to do my presentation.